Hello and welcome back to another half hour. We are back. María Jesús on my right, María José on my left. Creo que ya lo tengo. María Jesús, María José, María Jesús, María José. My God. In Spain, these nombres compuestos, these compound names, María Ángeles, María Luisa, María Jesús, María Mar, Marimar, I get confused. It's very, very difficult to remember the names. But I think today, María Jesús is on my right, María José is on my left. María Jesús' English is perfect. María José's English is imperfect, but almost perfect, okay? But we're going to try to make María Jesús make mistakes. All right, are you going to help me?
Yes, I am.
All right. Now, ask her if she would have come to this program if I had charged her 5,000 euros.
Would you have come to this program if he had charged you? Charged you 5,000 euros?
No, I wouldn't.
Ask her if she has 5,000 euros.
Do you have 5,000 euros?
Yes, I do.
Ask her if she thinks this program is worth 5,000 euros.
Do you think this program is worth 5,000 euros?
It's a tricky question.
Yeah, it's worth 5,000 euros.
All right.
It is, come on, okay. Ask her if she's enjoying this program.
Do you enjoy this program?
Quiero saber algo mismo.
Okay.
Are you?
Are you enjoying this program?
Yes, I am.
Ask her if she's ever been to Boston.
Have you ever been to Boston?
Yes, I have.
Ask her how many times she has been there.
How many times have you been there?
I've only been there once.
Ask her if she was there in the winter.
Were you there in the winter?
No, I wasn't.
Ask her what time of the year she was there.
What time of the year were you there?
It was summer.
In the summer. Ask her how long ago that was.
How long ago was that?
It was about 4 years ago, I think.
Ask her if she was there on vacation.
Were you there on vacation?
¿Cómo?
Vacation?
No.
Vacation?
Eso. Repeat, please.
Were you there on vacation?
Yes, I was.
Okay. I want to speak to the camera for the moment, okay? All right, listen. ¿Estuviste ahí de vacaciones o estás ahora de vacaciones? To be on vacation. Estar de vacaciones, to be on vacation. O los británicos dicen to be on holiday. En ambos casos es singular. Fijaos de nuevo. Estoy de vacaciones, digamos. I am on vacation. I am on holiday. En ambos casos, on y luego vacation, vacation, V, que suene la V. And the first letter in the English alphabet is an A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Ve. Y hay que practicarlo, porque decís aquí constantemente on vacation. Primero con B en vez de V, vacation, y suena mal, suena primitivo, suena feo. On vacation, on vacation. Or, if you can't pronounce it right, forget it and use the British form, on holiday. All right? Now, last year, I spent my vacation. Okay, aquí no estoy diciendo en vacaciones o de vacaciones. Pasé mis vacaciones. I spent my vacation. La palabra vacation siempre es en singular. Nunca, ni existe con ese al final. Okay, now, holiday is different. Right now, I'm not on holiday. Last summer, I was on holiday, and I spent my holidays in Marbella, for example. I spent my holidays. Se pluraliza cuando dice spend. I spent my holidays. Where did you spend your holidays last summer? Well, let's see. I spent my holidays in Marbella. I was on holiday, singular, for 5 weeks. Okay, on vacation. Now, ask her if she went to Boston on vacation.
Were you to Boston?
Did you go?
Did you go to Boston on vacation?
On vacation?
Yes, I did.
Really? Okay, ask her if she had a good time.
Did you have a good time?
Yes, I did.
Ask her if she went only to Boston.
Did you go only to Boston?
No, I didn't.
Ask her where else she went.
Where else did you go?
I went along the East Coast.
The Eastern Coast.
Eastern Coast.
Yeah. La costa esteña, decimos en inglés. The Eastern Coast. Ask her if she rented a car.
Did you rent a car?
Yes, I did.
Ask her if she went alone.
Did you go alone?
No, I didn't.
Ask her who she went with.
Who were you with?
Who did you go? Estaba bien, pero yo he dicho went. Ask her who she went with.
Where did you go? Who did you go with?
I went with my family.
All right. Ask her if they had a good time.
Did you have a good time?
They. Yeah, okay, good.
Yes, they did.
All right, good. Ask her if she was the interpreter during the trip.
Were you the interpreter during the trip?
Yes, I was.
Ask her if her family speaks English.
Does your family speak English?
No, they don't.
Ask her how old she was when she started learning English.
How old were you when you started learning English?
I was 9 years old.
Ask her if she would start learning English again if she had a second chance.
Would you start learning English again if you had a second chance?
Yes, I would.
All right. Ask her if she would like to speak English better than she does now.
Would you like to speak English better than you do now?
Yes, I would.
All right. Ask her if she thinks she can still improve.
Do you think you can still improve?
I hope so.
All right. Ask her if she needs English for her job.
Do you need English for your job?
Yes, I do.
Ask her how often she uses English.
How often do you use English?
I use English every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Every day. Cada ellos. Every day. Every day. All right, every day. Ask her if she gets angry when I correct her.
Do you get angry when he corrects you?
I would have to be angry all the time.
So you don't?
No, I don't.
All right, okay. And ask her if she has ever become irritated because of my corrections.
Have you ever become irritated because of his corrections?
I've been irritated with myself.
Ask her how long she has known me.
How long have you known him?
For nearly 3 years now.
All right, ask her if her English has improved since she met me.
Did your
Sigue con
okay.
conociéndome.
Has your English improved since you met him?
Yes, it has.
All right, ask her if she is more aware of her defects in English.
Are you more aware of
¿Cómo se dice llevar puesto?
where?
Where. Aware.
Aware.
Ser consciente de o estar al corriente de is to be aware of. Ask her if she is more aware, not aware. Ask her if she is more aware of her mistakes now.
Are you more aware of mistakes now?
My mistakes or her mistakes?
Of her mistakes.
Repeat the question.
Are you more aware of your mistakes now?
Yes, much more.
Much more. Ask her if she thinks her English has improved or gotten worse.
Do you think your English has improved or gotten worse?
It has improved.
Gotten qué?
Worse?
Eso. Gotten worse. Okay. Now, ask her if she would like to go back to Boston someday.
Would you like to go back to Boston someday?
Yes, I would.
Tell her to ask me if I've ever been to Boston.
Ask Richard if he has ever been to Boston.
Have you ever been to Boston?
Yes, I have. Tell her to ask me how many times I've been there.
Ask him how many times he's been there.
How many times have you been there?
Just once. Tell her to ask me when I was there.
Ask him when he was there.
When were you there?
I was there about 6 years ago. Tell her to ask me why I went to Boston.
Ask him why he went to Boston.
Why did you go to Boston?
I went to Boston to visit a friend of mine. Tell her to ask me if I went alone.
Ask him if he went alone.
Did you go alone?
Alone?
Alone.
Alone. Lonely, I'm lonely. I didn't go alone. Tell her to ask me who I went with.
Ask him who did he go with.
Qué buen inglés usas. Otra vez, pero esta vez bien.
Ask him who he went with.
All right.
Who did you go with?
I went with my family. Tell her to ask me if we flew there.
Ask him if they flew there.
Did you fly there?
No, we didn't. Tell her to ask me how we went there.
Ask him how they went there.
How did you go there?
We drove there. All right. Ask me how long it took. Tell her to ask me how long it took us to drive to Boston.
Ask him how long it took them to drive to Boston.
How long did it take you to drive to Boston?
It took us 6 days. I mean, from Spain to Boston is a long way.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever driven to Boston from Spain?
No, never.
Ask her why she has never driven there from here.
Why haven't you ever driven from here to Boston?
Well, because I can't.
All right, there's an ocean in the middle.
Yes.
All right. No, I drove from Texas to Boston, and it took 6 days. Tell her to ask me why it took us so long.
Ask him why it took them so long.
Why did it take you so long?
It's a long way. Tell her to ask me how far it is from Texas to Boston.
Ask him how long it is from.
How far?
How far is it from Texas? How far it is from Texas to Boston?
Good. Una vez más.
How
Ask him.
Ask him how far it is from Texas to Boston.
How far is it from Texas to Boston?
It's about 3,000 kilometers. Okay. You can drive it in 3 days if you want. Tell her to ask me what I would have to do if I wanted to drive from Texas to Boston in 3 days.
Ask him what he would have to do if he wanted to drive from Texas to Boston in 3 days.
Eso.
Wow.
Suerte. What would you have to do?
What would you have to do if you wanted to drive
From
Texas to Boston 3 times?
In?
3 days.
Tres veces? No. No, gracias.
In 3 days.
In 3 days, I would need to use the interstate highways and to drive a little above the speed limit on 12 hours a day.
Yes.
Okay, nonstop, driving and driving. And driving a little above the speed limit. All right? Tell her to ask me if there are a lot of highway police in the United States.
Ask him if there are a lot of highway police in the United States.
Are there a lot of highway police in the United States?
Yes, there are. Tell her to ask me if it's possible to drive above the speed limit.
Ask him if it is possible to drive above
The
the speed limit.
Is it possible to drive above the speed limit?
Yes, it's possible to drive above the speed limit with no danger from the police, but only if you drive about maximum 8 miles an hour. 8 miles an hour above the speed limit. Tell her to ask me how much 8 miles is in kilometers.
Ask him how much it is 8 miles in kilometers. How much is
No?
How much is it?
No, escucha cómo lo digo. Porque mis instrucciones contienen las tuyas. Do you understand? Tell her to ask me how much 8 miles is in kilometers.
Ask him how much
Eight
8 miles is in kilometers.
Digo is porque es una unidad de millas.
De medida.
Okay?
How much is 8 miles in kilometers?
It's about 13 kilometers. So if you're driving, for example, at 120, if the speed limit in the States is 120 kilometers, if you drive around 133, the police are not going to stop you. But if you're driving at 138, perhaps, yes, they will stop you. Tell her to ask me if I have ever been stopped by the highway patrol in the United States.
Ask him if he has ever been stopped by the highway patrol.
Have you ever been stopped by the highway patrol?
Oh, yes, I have. Tell her to ask me if I have ever been fined.
Ask him if he has ever been fined.
Have you ever been fined?
Yes, I have. A few times, not many. Multado. Fined, yes, a few times. Tell her to ask me why it took me 6 days to drive to Boston 6 years ago.
Ask him why it took him 6 days to drive to Boston 6 years ago.
Parecían 6 años.
What did it
Why?
take? Why did it take you
6 days
6 days
to drive.
from Texas to Boston?
Okay, because I used back routes. You understand?
Yes.
Back routes. Rutas secundarias. Carreteras secundarias. Tell her to ask me why I decided to use back routes.
Ask him why he decided to take secondary routes.
Routes. No.
Raíces, no, I know.
Bueno, no, suena igual. Mira, in American English, ruta, escrito route,
Yeah.
has 2 pronunciations, route and route.
Route.
Yes, it's very common, route. I prefer route, personally, because it's also British when I teach. Route 66, Route 66. Now, route, como raíz, escrito root, tiene la misma pronunciación. Route, route. Okay? La ruta de las raíces serían the route. Route.
No, route.
Route. ¿Cómo? Bueno, hay un personaje de la Biblia, Ruth.
Sí.
O hay un nombre de mujer, Ruth. ¿Cómo lo dices?
Ruth.
No, ¿cómo lo dices en castellano?
Ruth.
Ruth. No, hay chicas en este país que se llaman Ruth.
Sí, es que es así como lo digo.
Dices Ruth.
Sí.
Ruth.
All right.
Di
So,
Ruth.
Route.
Ruth.
Ruth.
Se pronuncia igual. Ruth.
Route.
All right. Well, okay, I'm going to tell her to ask. Well, I used back routes. Back routes. Ask me why I used back routes.
Why do you use back?
Why?
Why?
Did you?
Sorry. Why did you use back routes? Back
No, no te sabe.
No.
Roots.
routes.
Alárgame la U.
Back routes.
Roots. Back routes.
Back
Okay.
routes.
Okay. Because I prefer to see the countryside, to see America. And tell her to ask me what states we passed through.
Ask him what states they passed through.
What states did you pass through?
We passed through Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, and Massachusetts. All right. Ask me if my children were exhausted when we reached Boston.
Were your children exhausted when you reached Boston?
No, they weren't. Tell her to ask me why they weren't exhausted.
Ask him why they weren't exhausted.
Yes, weren't.
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 Se escribe weren't. Se pronuncia weren't.
Weren't.
Y los británicos dicen weren't. Weren't. Why weren't they? Okay. Tell her to ask me why they weren't exhausted.
Why weren't?
Ask him.
Ask him why they weren't exhausted.
Why weren't they exhausted?
Because we didn't drive very far each day. We drove about 500 kilometers a day, which is fairly far. Tell her to ask me where we stayed every night.
Ask him where they stayed every night.
Where did you stay? Where
Every
did you
night.
stay every night?
We stayed in motels and motor hotels along the way. Tell her to ask me if I always got 2 rooms.
Ask him if he always got 2 rooms.
Did you always get 2 rooms?
Yeah, always got 2 rooms, okay? We had 2 rooms in the hotel or the motel. Tell her to ask me if that trip was a little expensive.
Ask him if that trip was a little expensive.
Was that trip a little expensive?
Yes, it was, of course. Tell her to ask me what the most expensive part was.
Ask him what the most expensive part was.
¿Entiendes por qué?
Yes.
All right.
What was the most expensive part?
I don't know, probably the hotels or the food or the rental car. Tell her to ask me where I rented the car.
Ask him where he rented the car.
Where did you rent the car?
I rented the car in Houston, Texas. Tell her to ask me where I left it.
Ask him where he left it.
Where did you leave it?
I left it in Boston. All right, a long way from Houston.
Yes.
And tell her to ask me who I visited in Boston.
Ask him who he visited in Boston.
Who did you visit in Boston?
I visited a writer, un escritor. Tell her to ask me if that writer is famous.
Ask him if that writer is famous.
Famous?
Famous.
Famous.
Is that writer famous?
He's becoming famous. All right. Tell her to ask me if he has a lot of money.
Ask him if he has a lot of money.
Does he have a lot of money?
Yes, he does. Tell her to ask me how much money he has.
Ask him how much money he has.
How much money does he have?
I don't know, but maybe $5 million. Okay. Tell her to ask me how long I've known him.
Ask him how long he's known him.
How long have you known him?
I've known him since 1970. 1970. Tell her to ask me where I met him.
Ask him where he met him.
Where did he meet him? Where did you meet him?
I met him at a university campus. Tell her to ask me how old I was when I met him.
Ask him how old he was when he met him.
How old were you when you met him?
I was 18. Tell her to ask me if he was 18 too.
Ask him if he was 18 too.
Was he 18 too?
Yeah, probably. 17 or 18, probably 18. And tell her to ask me if he was from a rich family.
Ask him if he was from a rich family.
Was he from a rich family?
No, he wasn't. In fact, he had to work in a job on the campus to pay for his education. All right. Tell her to ask me how he became rich.
Ask him how he became rich.
How did he become rich?
Ah, that's an interesting story. Okay. Ask tell her to ask me if we are still good friends.
Ask him if
If
they are still good friends.
Are you still good friends?
Yes, we are. We're still good friends, okay? Now, tell her to ask me if I spent a lot of time with him when we were in the university.
Ask him if he spent a lot of time with him when they were at university.
At university, good. Eso es británico, pero perfecto.
Did you spend a lot of time with him when you were
In the university?
In the university?
No, only 1 year. Of the 4 years in the American university, I spent only 1 year with him. A lot. All right? Ask me if we ever stayed in the same apartment.
Did you ever stay in the same apartment?
Yes, once. Okay? Tell her to ask me if we came to Spain together.
Ask him if they came to Spain together.
And did you come to Spain together?
Yes, we did. Tell her to ask me if I knew him well before coming to Spain.
Ask him if he knew him well before they came to Spain.
Did you know him well when you came to Spain?
No, I didn't. But we got to know each other well here. All right? And we lived together in the same flat for about 4 months. Okay? And we also spent 1 week in a small village in Valladolid? Yes, in Valladolid. Ask me what the name of the village was.
What was the name of the village?
Gómez Narro. All right? Ask her if she has ever been to Gómez Narro.
Have you ever been to Gómez Narro?
Yes, I have.
Really? Ask her why she has been there.
Why have you been there?
Because I like to travel to small places in the different towns.
Different
in my
towns.
province.
Ask her if Gómez Narro is near Medina del Campo or near Igualada.
Is Gómez Narro near Medina del Campo or near Igualada?
It's near Medina del Campo.
All right. Ask Maria Jesus if she has ever been there.
Have you ever been there?
To Gómez Narro?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
All right. Ask me how many Gómez Narros there are in Spain.
How many Gómez Narros are there in Spain?
Que yo sepa, ¿cómo se dice?
As far as I know,
As far as I know, there are 2. Ask me where the other one is.
Where is the other one?
The other one is not too far, I think, from Ayllón in Segovia, or near San Esteban de Gormaz. In that area, or near Sepúlveda, it's in that area, between Segovia and the south of Soria. Okay? Now, ask me how my friend got rich.
how did your friend get rich?
He sold a company. All right? Ask me if he was the owner of the company.
Was he the owner of the company?
He was part owner. Ask me how many partners he had.
How many partners did he have?
¿Cuántos socios? 1 other partner. All right? Ask me what kind of company it was.
What kind of company was it?
It was a publishing company. Tell Maria Jesus to ask me what kind of material they published.
Ask him what kind of material and they published.
What kind?
Published.
What kind of materials?
Material.
Did he publish?
Did they publish? They published books and newsletters on medical questions. Ask me if he's a doctor.
Is he a doctor?
No, he's not. Ask me what he does for a living.
What does he do for a living?
He's a journalist and writer. All right? Ask me who he sold the company to.
Who did he sell the company to?
Company?
Company.
Company. ¿Cómo se dice venir?
Come.
Ven a mi compañía.
Come to my company.
Good. Llevas años diciendo company y ¿qué tengo que hacer para romper ese hábito, ese vicio? Company. He sold it to the largest publishing house in the United States. Tell her to ask me how much he sold it for.
Ask him how much did he sell it for.
Yeah.
He sold it for. Ask him how much he sold it for.
How much did he sell it for?
I think he sold it for about $12 million. All right.
Wow.
It's a lot. Ask me what he did before that.
What did he do before that?
He was a taxi driver
Sure.
in New York City.
Really?
It's a long story, but he was a taxi driver for 10 years in Manhattan, well, in New York City. And then the rest of the story I'll tell another day. I'll tell you another day the rest of the story. But the rest of the story is very interesting. How a taxi driver in New York City, driving a taxi 10 hours a day, can become a multimillionaire. But it's a true story. A good friend of mine, okay? But I'll come back later. Maybe not today, but another day, I promise. My word, I give you my word that I will tell you the story of my good friend Bob, okay? Thank you. Thank you. It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure. And I'll be right back in just a few minutes. Don't go away.